I'm announcing a statewide moratorium on evictions.
Governor Jay Inslee banned residential evictions statewide in March in an effort to help renters who were losing their jobs from losing so much more.
Given the status of this epidemic, we just can't have a big spike in homelessness together with this epidemic raging.
As COVID-19 cases in our state, like others, spiked over the course of the year, Inslee extended the moratorium, an action Violeta Cialer calls a lifesaver.
Many people suffer. It was everybody.
Cialer, a school bus driver, like hundreds of thousands of others, was out of work when classrooms closed down this spring.
100 drivers are out of job right now.
Yet the state eviction ban, as well as a federal eviction moratorium from the CDC, is set to expire on December 31st. Cialer is a member of the Washington Community Action Network and serves on the governor's eviction moratorium work group. Many renters like her believe, with coronavirus caseloads climbing every day, an abrupt end to the moratorium could be disastrous.
And we don't know how long it's going to be, so the situation is getting worse. If they're fixing everything, it should go slowly going back to normal, but not just suddenly when you're still in the middle of the crisis.
Extending the eviction ban encourages non-payment of rent.
That's Preston Walls, owner of Walls Property Management, which runs dozens of apartment buildings in the Seattle area. He says a rising number of his renters, especially in older so-called Class C buildings, are delinquent or behind on rent. Census figures show more than 500,000 people in our state are now using credit cards or short-term loans to cover basic spending.
Over the course of COVID, our delinquencies have roughly doubled.
Landlords and tenants say no one wants to go through a costly and time-consuming eviction process. But Walls says he now has 15 renters behind more than a month on rent payments. 2 of them are behind more than 6 months. 2 people who've cost him thousands of dollars.
It's those outliers that are really, really impactful. It gets to a point where a tenant can say, hey, there's no consequences to me not paying, so I'm not going to.
There are those that don't pay just because, and I'm not one of those.
Shakura Wilford still has her office manager job and is paying part of her rent each month. But she's using the moratorium to conserve some cash for now.
It's kind of a cushion to help you, continue with everything else.
She's a single mom and says utility bills and food costs are all on the rise for her family as they spend more time at home. Wilford is behind about $6,000 on rent and is hoping state or federal leaders can craft a program that might help her and local landlords once the moratorium ends.
I think we all need a forgiveness and start from scratch so we can continue to build instead of trying to go backwards and clean up our mess.
Many landlords balk at the idea of rent forgiveness, and they're calling for stronger restrictions if the city, state, or federal eviction bans continue, possibly requiring tenants to prove direct financial hardship from COVID-19 and ensuring landlords get at least a percentage of the back rent due.
If there's a law in place, there should also be resources available to landlords impacted by this.
As the year-end deadline approaches, all eyes are on the governor to figure out how to gracefully end an eviction moratorium that'll take a lot more than next month's rent to pay for.
We will all get through this together. I hope people can think about that.